Hello, friends. So this is Smitty. Okay. And by the way, that's Smitty with no I. He was first introduced to me as this guy is a legend, which when he watches this back, I don't think that I ever told him that. So that's pretty cool. His productions are so good. If you listen to my immersive groove mixes, which come out every single Monday, you have heard his music, along with lots of other local artists' music that I throw in there. And if you are a house music producer, make sure you email me your tracks, gramradio@gmail.com. Anyway, Smitty and I talk about a lot of great stuff. We actually start out talking about Castellani, who's another producer who is making some serious waves both in town and across the world. We don't really have like a formal introduction like, hey, this is Smitty. Like, that's kind of what this is. But for the listeners, you know that I love you. Thank you so much for participating in this musical journey that I am embarking upon. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Smitty interview.
First one too.
Yeah, dude, Castellani is... is he Tampa's... realistically, is he Tampa's most successful producer that is still currently living in Tampa?
No. He's a great producer.
Yes.
Don't. I will never put anybody down. No, he's a great producer. But there are hidden gems here in Tampa that people don't even know about.
Yeah?
Like, when I'm talking big time, I'm talking getting million Spotify playlist listeners across overseas, working with overseas guys. And these are cats that I've been working with. My mentor is one of them. His name's Admiral. I don't know if you've heard of Admiral. He's played a couple times around here, but he's one of those hidden talents around here. He doesn't get himself really deep involved into our scene because of the bigger scale he's going for and working with, these guys overseas like Echo Storm and a bunch of people like that. So, I look at that like as a great thing because I love hidden gems. I love finding people that are out here putting in that work that it takes to really become something out here. And sometimes hiding yourself away from the local scene is sometimes how you got to do it out here.
Yeah, and I think that it comes to respect for time.
Yes.
As fun as it is to DJ, and don't get me wrong, it is...
Oh, I love it.
It is very...
I love it.
Very fun to DJ, especially when you have your own IDs that you can throw down.
Right.
If you just respect time and just lock it in hermit crab mode for 5, 6, 10 years, produce amazing tracks...
It's what it takes.
The 2030s can look a lot different than the 2020s.
It can, and man, I really just started getting really going, in the house music production like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
If I would have spent the time, years ago in my early 20s to where, I am now, like, there's no telling what type of platform I could have been on.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand that fact until I understood the time and sacrifice. It's sacrificing going out with being all your friends all the time and partying, enjoying that, good time and going out DJ. It takes that dedication of staying at home on the weekends and digging through and reaching out to your peers and researching and watching whatever you can do or study whatever you can instead of, going out. But some people don't realize that. It took me a while to realize that. And when I realized it, I locked myself completely down. I was like, if I want to make it out here, if I want to stand out, I have to put this time in now.
Where do you want to be in like 10 years as in the music industry?
Honestly, I want to be really just comfortable with being able to tour. Also being able to be paid for what I love to do and be comfortable paying bills and things like that. I'm not looking for fame. That's not something. It's more of the music for me. It's always been about the music for me. It's not about the fame. It's not about the clout. That's why, I'm one of the ones troubled with social media right now because I don't see that platform. I come from the old school days of street marketing where, we didn't have that. We didn't have, everything in your face 24/7.
Right.
So it's about the music. I want to be able to share my music with others and be able to relate with others and make people feel those same emotions that I felt when I made the track.
Yeah, there's so much emphasis on creating social media content, and that's fine. You can really, if you can blow your social media up and then you release a song, well, because of your social media following, people will be aware that you are a music producer, and then people will go and listen to your song, and that's great. I was having a conversation with someone recently about content creation and how content creation can actually take time away from production. And I at the end of the day, I think that there's a balance. Like, yes, good music always wins, but if no one is listening to your music, then you're not going to win.
You want to know who has that really good balance in our scene?
Who?
Yahil, Jay Caruso.
Yeah?
He's got that good content and is consistent with stuff, but he also keeps his focus on his creativity and his work.
Yep.
Which I respect that out of him, because he takes on doing two different types of projects, bass music and house music, which I do the same thing, which a lot of people don't know about. I come from the bass music side, so I make bass music as well, just as, inspiration. But he has narrowed it down of how to keep, that social media presence up. Like, dude, his Twitter is hilarious. And he's getting more and more people to follow. But also, when he was releasing this new music, the music is super, super fire.
Yeah, the music is great. I mean, he's been
great.
He's been sitting on Gucci for maybe a year.
Oh, hot minute.
Yeah.
Hey Jerry, he showed me Hey Jerry 2 years ago prior before it released.
Yeah.
And look what the numbers it did. I mean, it's reached over 100,000 streams, I believe.
Yeah. I love his carousels that he puts up on Instagram. They're very funny. Jay Crusoe showcases his personality so well.
And that's what's going to help him.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, because it allows him to resonate with his audience.
Correct. And people love him. And I love
with all that being said, he teeters the line between taking social media seriously and also being himself, like in a very, very great way. And I'll give you a tangible example. I was trying to do a collab post with him back in January because I had him on.
Right.
We did an interview. It was great, and I sent him what I wanted to do, and he was like, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna post something that doesn't look like what my profile has been looking like." So I completely redid the content so that it was in line with what his social media looks like. But it's with aesthetics are important.
They are.
You
got to look good.
Exactly. yeah, exactly.
100%. It's not all about the music in this game or in this industry, man. Sometimes you do have to have that look. Yeah. You have to stand out. You have to have a brand. People forget that. You're a brand. You yourself, you got to sell your brand out here. I'm in sales normal. I work for Verizon on a day job, and I have to sell a brand. I have to convince people of why to, buy our phones and, be with us as a service provider. Yeah. It's the same way out here in this industry. You have to sell yourself. You have to create that brand that's going to catch the eye. What else are you going to look at differently? Because when I look at a brand, I'm looking at how am I going to sell merch? What type of merch ideas? What type of other profit margins can I make off my brand to make myself become more noticeable? What can I do, to sell myself better? Yeah. And a lot of these young cats out here, they think they're just going to get up here, play, and, not have any really type of brand or content behind them. And it's not going to work out at the end of the day.
Well, I think that a lot of people are aware that they need branding, but it's not easy to get branding.
It's really not easy. I've been through 3-4 different aliases and names because sometimes that's what it takes. And there's a lot of cats out here, the bigger artists, that's before they made it big. Yeah. They went through, a couple aliases before them. But sometimes that's what it's going to take for you to figure out who you are as an artist.
One thing that you always need to take with a grain of salt, but also listen to, is people's feedback.
100%.
About a year ago, I was posting videos of me DJing while in a suit. And I got such amazing feedback from that. And so many people said, oh my gosh, you should continue doing that. I decided not to, just because, to me, it seemed a little bit corny. And maybe I'll do it because, I'm a lawyer when I'm not being doing Graham radio. But maybe later in life, I'll find myself in a suit again DJing. But I just didn't want to continue DJing in a suit. It just seemed a little bit corny to me.
Sometimes, man, what you don't realize too is the corniness is where it's at. It's what draws people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, come on, look at Joel Deadmau5. Like at first, there's probably, at the beginning, he was probably thinking it was corny. There are a lot of people who was probably thinking it was corny, but it caught on, and it took off.
Damn, do I start DJing?
Corniness sometimes is what will get it, man. Look at another perspective of that corniness.
Wait, hold on. Am I gonna start DJing in this?
I think you should.
Just because I've been filming myself DJing immersive grooves, but they've just been in. I'm gonna put, because I work from home now, so I have almost no reason to ever actually wear a suit.
Right.
Well, all my okay.
But you know what? People are going to go to those sets, and you know what they're going to remember from that night? The guy that played in the suit.
Yeah, that's right.
They ain't gonna care about. And if you play that fire set, which I know you will, they're really gonna be like, "Yo, the dude in the suit, what's his name? Graham? Oh, that dude was fire."
I mean, okay.
You're gonna be sweating so hard, but
It'll be worth it.
I always sweat hard. Yeah. I'm DJing at Embert again. I think later in the year.
I break out the suit for Ember. That's definitely Ember vibes.
Oh my gosh.
100%.
that's on brand for you.
That's a brand. Okay, because that is who you are as a person, right?
Yeah.
You that is your daily life and who you become, for yourself in your life. So take that and put it with your music.
Okay, I'm into it.
What people do you know out here DJing in suits calling them, that are lawyers and taking that persona as like, I'm a DJ and a lawyer, but I'm gonna put both of them together.
Wow. I have in the past, and it's worked.
And the feedback you just said you got was amazing.
Yeah.
So why not take that feedback, like you said, and present it for your own brand?
All right, you know what? I'm in. I'm open to it. Yeah.
Once you embrace it, man, the content's going to take off. You think now that you're going to have you present the suit content and that's you and this is what it's going to be. So sorry about that, guys.
You're good.
That is it's going to take off for you, brother.
And I've had the conversation before how like me wearing the suit really does make sense because like I'm literally a lawyer and I mean and now I don't know if you know this, I'm making lawyer content now. Levi the Lawyer on YouTube. And every Monday I come out with a new video and I'm wearing a suit in those.
So why can't Levi DJ as well?
Yeah. Levi the Lawyer, Graham the DJ. That's funny.
I mean, dude, it's things like that. That
is funny. I mean, what if I changed Graham Radio to Graham the DJ? Yeah, because we were talking about a logo for Levi the Lawyer, and what we came up with, and for Graham Radio, but like, wait, babe, what did you say? What did you just say about a logo for Graham Radio?
Like the suit, with like headphones.
Yeah, totally. I'm in. Like, I think.
Your beard?
Yeah. Because like the logo for Levi the Lawyer, we were talking about it, could be because I always wear my black circle glasses, the black circle glasses with the beard, but then for the DJ stuff, it could be the beard with the black circle glasses with headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a brand. That's something you can sell. That's something that you can get, onesie suits for people made out of that say your name. You're going to be able to get T-shirt suits, the Jesus shirts,
I mean, how about this?
Tuxedo type bill for the merch.
I mean, how about this? Let's take it a step further. Let's say like right now I snap my fingers and I have all the graphics made. I have the silhouetted circle glasses, beard, maybe even with a tie, maybe not. One for the lawyer, there's no headphones. For the DJ, there is headphones. And then let's say that I'm like gonna DJ at Embert, in October or November or whenever. Maybe like a month prior, I like really, really push hard like these glasses, and then people who follow Graham Radio, like I'll buy a shitload of just like black, thick rimmed glasses, and just everyone who sits down and does a podcast is wearing them. And then at Embert, I bring like 100 or like 200 of them, and I just give them to everybody.
That is marketing and branding, my friend.
Yeah,
that is exactly what it takes.
Yeah.
And that's things I'm even working on right now for my branding,
right.
For myself is how can I take it to, and that's why I've been kind of absent from the scene. Mm-hmm. I've been absent from going out and stuff because I'm figuring that out.
Hold on. I just want to say, like, I feel like whether or not you've been absent from the scene is neither here nor there because you've actually been like sitting down and producing.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. How's that going?
It's going very good, actually.
Yeah.
Recently, I did finish up a lot of newer house tracks, which I'm going to play out today as well. But I've also dug back into my bass side of things.
Exciting.
Oh man, it's really exciting because that's kind of where I came from the start with dance music. I listened to hardstyle when I was very, very young. like DJ Caffeine back in the days. Like that kind of started me out, but I kind of went to hip hop and stuff after that. And I did, hip hop engineering and recording. I've actually sat down with Grammy Award winning producers as well.
Wait,
Yes.
wait. Let's sorry to derail what you're saying here, but I want to hear more about your production history.
So
When did you first start producing music?
So I didn't really start producing music until about 5 years ago, but I have been on the live sound engineering side for almost 20 years. I started as a kid. My entire family's been involved in music my whole life. My brothers had a band. My dad managed the band. My mom plays piano and sings. My one brother plays drums. Other brother plays guitar. Well, at a young age, they started me off as a roadie, 12, 13 years old. Running back lines, setting up production.
Oh my gosh.
Doing the whole thing, man. And then once I kind of grew up and got into, my teenage years at 16, I started doing live sound engineering for a small local venue in Louisville, Kentucky, because I'm from Kentucky. And I've done live sound for bands like A Day to Remember, Bless the Fall, Alisana, Amorosa, We the King, Secondhand Serenades. I mean, these are big time indie artists.
Amanda's freaking out right now.
I even worked with Sonny Moore when he was known as just Sonny.
Oh my gosh.
When he was from First to Last, they did a tour when they was on tour at the little small venue, and I ran sound for them. And that's before he became Skrillex. Mm-hmm. And I knew then when I met that kid, he was going to be brilliant. But yeah, they had started there. And then once I got, down here into Florida, I moved over into the hip hop side of things and got into the digital side of, recording and mixing and mastering. And that's where the skills started right there, working with Pro Tools. I got my very first copy from my homeboy Cambada. Where he's a Connecticut rapper, and he put me onto that digital side of things and really got started there. Well, I got deep into that game and ended up meeting an artist that goes by King Jewel, also up there from Brooklyn. And I was working with this cat at a call center. And this is where networking, I would say, never put anything past anybody, no matter what they look like, what they may talk about, or what, type of things they may boast about, because you never know. This guy, Richard, that I met at a call center, he was like, hey, man, the Justice League, the producers? I'm like, the guys that worked with Rick Ross and Mary J. Blige and won Grammys with them?
Like, oh, yeah.
He was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, so what about him? He's like, well, my best friend that was in my band in high school is Kenny Bartow, one of the members of the Justice League. He ended up linking us up with Kenny, bringing us out to Atlanta to meet up with Kenny, going out, having drinks, vibing out, networking. We got invited to their personal studio that he told us not even, the big artists even get to come to this studio. He's like, the only reason you're sitting in this, laboratory right now is because my best friend. And got to sit there and got real insight on some real industry stuff and the deep side of the industry stuff.
Like what? Like from production standpoint?
Production standpoint, the branding, the marketing, the overall aspect of what it takes to become an artist. Because we were presenting him, my buddy King Jewel at the time, as a hip hop artist that was up and coming.
Does any advice stand out? Like, can you recall what he said about becoming a big artist or becoming a successful artist?
Yes,
that makes money?
Never give up. That was the big one, because he says, what people don't understand out here is that they see these people in this limelight and they think it just happened for them overnight. And that's not the case. Sometimes some of these people you don't see that they've been putting in 15 years of hard work, dedication, grinding, rejection, everything for, a decade before they even make it. Yeah. And that's what stood out to me is, never give up. And, I haven't given up to that point. And that's when I moved on after that experience, and I started getting heavily into dance music. I became a hype man. That's how I really got my name in Tampa, was being a voice of Tampa.
Where were you a hype man in Tampa?
Control Thursdays back in the day, the old Fusions back in the day. I used to.
I don't really. I'm
so TK right now, the Thursday nights that they do over there, and Truck System and stuff. Well, Truck that runs the system over there used to do this Fusion Thursdays. The way back in the day, people like, I don't know if you know of like Nerd Rage and them. No. So these are some older cats that were running these local Thursday nights. Well, One time I hopped up on the mic and people heard my voice. They're like, dude, you have like a radio voice. Like, we want you to, hype our parties up and whatnot. And that became a thing for a couple years. I did a tour with an Afterglow paint party where I traveled with a little paint party tour and was a hype man for that. And then it just became a point when I was, being a hype man and turning around as a hype man and looking back at them decks and looking back at these, artists that are playing. And I was just like, I don't want to be on the mic anymore. I want to be that guy. And that was that changing point of really wanting to start digging into that production.
And that was about 5 years ago.
And that was about 5 years ago.
And you immediately knew that in order to actually be that guy, production was.
Yeah, and I even started out with, producing the bass side of things and trying to dig into that, but something was not resonating with me when it was happening. And I felt that. I was like, this is just, at the time, it just wasn't resonating with me. I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't able to just really focus on creating it. And I just told myself, I was like, I like house music. Let's give it a shot. So I hopped in there and made one of my first couple tracks, man, and I just fell in love immediately. And from that day forward, I spend daily producing, learning new things.
That's the only way, man.
And that is the only way.
Even if it's 5 minutes, just sitting down in front of Ableton or Pro Tools
something
or whatever it may be, and just making sure that you're getting in the time every single day into music production.
And I work with a lot of younger cats, as you know, like Breezy's one of my little proteges that I work with right now that's been helping her out with her production. And I give a speech to anybody out here that wants to become a producer. I have a full open door policy with me. If you really want to sit down and you want to learn and you want to put in that time to, want to become something better for yourself, I tell them, I was like, it's a different type of hunger. If I will not reach out to you, if you're serious enough, you're going to reach out to me and want to learn.
Right.
But that's where that separation of what's going to make somebody great and somebody that not so great.
Well, what would you say to someone who maybe doesn't know you and wants just some good advice on music production? Love. I mean, don't stop is essential. Don't stop is essential. Doing it every day is essential. But something like, you should download this because you'll be able to do this, or you should watch this YouTuber because they'll show you this. Like, what is like something that
So what was a big help with me is finding other individuals that are on the same plateau as you of production. And sitting down with each other and figuring things out with each other. The only reason why I've gotten to where I'm at is because over the years, me and Carson Koloff, I Awake, we worked with each other, at the beginning stages of productions, exchanging information, making each other better. Me and Yahil has done that over the years with each other and sharing each other's music. Working on that same, plateau, and even finding somebody else that's just a little bit better that can show you things and feed off that. You want to be able to feed off of somebody to get that inspiration, because I know there's a lot of blockage and people get stuck. It's also good out here, I would say, if you have the access or you can find a mentor, because these tutorials out here are not going to show you everything, and they're not going to show you the easy ways of doing it and simplifying, because I had a problem with balance in my records. And it took me getting a mentor to really coming in, sitting down with me and dissecting that.
What do you mean by balance?
So there's a big difference in, you can underproduce and you can overproduce. And that just all becomes a balance factor within your production of how much elements need to be presented, what type of vibe is going on into this track, and how many elements, you need to have, versus there's some tracks that I have a lot going on, but there's some tracks that I don't have a lot, that I don't have a lot going on. But if you underdo it, it's not going to be, as thriving and hard as driving. But if you overdo it, it's going to be too much to the ears and too much going on. You have to be able to captivate those listeners and keep those listeners involved. And that's where it's a hard balance in between to not, to be simple. You have to be simple, but not too simple.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's really hard.
I think that a very famous producer who does that very well is Palsa.
He's one of my influencers, man. Because I am all about that deep, hard hitting tech. It's so minimal. But it hits so hard at the same time, and that becomes once again that fine balance and the mix downs. And in the beginning stages of production, I tell people I don't expect you to become a mixing engineer. There's 3 different types of platforms in production that also a lot of people don't know. You can write records. You don't have to be able to mix and master. That's okay. There's people out here, that's what their jobs are meant to do. Then you have people that can write records and mix, but they can't master. That's perfectly okay. But then you have a person that can do all 3. You have a person that can just do one. These are jobs that are delegated in our industry for reasons. When you get to bigger, statuses and plateaus, that's going to happen anyways. You're going to be working with a team of engineers, a team of people to build these albums. Do you think, these big major artists that we listen to now and these albums that they're creating, that there's not a full team behind it? Oh, there is. There's people writing the drum factors of the record, the melody factors of the record. Just like, in the other parts of our industry, like with pop music and stuff, it's the same way. You got full teams.
So and I love this piece of advice. This is a piece of advice that I don't think has been explained so eloquently on this, this podcast. Is work with people. Collaboration and networking is
huge.
Absolute.
It's not what you know, it's who you know. Sometimes in this industry,
and that phrase, it's not what you know, it's who you know. That is usually that's usually applied to like getting bookings. But what you're saying, you're sort of opening up that phrase. It's more about who you know when it comes to just making amazing work product.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because networking.
One more thing I want to say about Palsa is we're talking about minimal tech, where Palsa does minimal tech, and it's like there's not a lot going on, but there's a ton going on. It's so hard hitting.
It's the groove.
It's the groove. Yeah. One thing that I've said about Palsa in the past is that he is modern art. Like when you go to an art museum, a modern art museum, you might look at a painting of a fully white canvas, and you might say to yourself, I can do that. Come on. It's just a 4/4 beat with a kick on it. You know what I mean? It's just and a hi-hat. It's like, come on, that's it. And like a little bass line. Like that's it. There's not a lot going on. But the difference is your white painting isn't in the MoMA.
It's telling a story too. It's what people don't realize when you're creating arrangements and creating these tracks, and why people like Paulson out here that you're mesmerized because their tracks are telling a story from start to finish.
It's amazing.
They put you into this intro of a story, and then they break it down, and then they give you the gut of the story, and that's your main drops. Then they break it back down and give you a little bit more feel of the feelings and the emotions through those verses and bridges and those vocal points to then build you back up to show you that excitement, enjoyment again through that job. It's building that story.
And somehow with all of that, it's called minimal.
Yeah.
And it is. You listen to it and it makes sense to call something like that minimal. It's like you can listen to the song I Got the Fire by Michael Bibby, and it's just I got the fire, the burn in your desire.
That track's so good.
And it, like the whole there's a theme throughout it that just it's like it's like and that plays right before the major drop, and it's just so hard hitting. And that is the white painting in the MoMA. Like, it's such a simple thing, but Michael Bibby, Palsa, Dennis Cruz, they're the ones who figured it out.
I mean, Chris Lake even does it. Chris Lake's tracks are super simple, but they hit so hard. Yeah. And just the arrangement and how he structures them is just flawless. And that's the thing. That's where the creativity, really stands out is, how are you going to tell that story in your track? You can make a great 4/4, kind of run through track, but is it telling a true story? Mm-hmm. That's the key. That's
what do you mean? What does that mean to you? Like telling a true story?
Feeding that track with your emotions, letting people feel how you feel at that moment of that creativity. because that's what I produce for. When I get into certain type of emotions, that's when I hit my DAW. If I get angry about something, I hit my DAW and I start putting something down. When I get joyful about something or something glamorous happens in my life, I hit my DAW and put it down. It's
Damn,
producing.
your dog must go to the hospital a lot.
So with
I hit my dog every time.
Well, the DAW, the DAW.
Yes, the dog.
The DAW.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of the country accent probably coming out there.
No, I know what you were saying, but it's just like it sounded like dog. Every time I get angry, I hit my dog.
Ableton sometimes she does get mad at me sometimes, you know.
Oh my god!
But it's producing off emotions, because you can't expect to capture somebody out here, you know, unless you put your true raw emotions into it. And one other person that does that, and you know, and he's another person that, you know, is built off his brand, but he's very smart, is John Summit. But you can tell with his tracks and his hits that there is raw emotion that comes with this production. That goes for a lot of cats out here. I mean, it's just putting in what you feel like at that time, and that's what's going to resonate with people. People listen to music to relate. That's what we have to stem back to. Why do we listen to music? To relate to it and to feel it and to make me feel that way. You know, there's stuff out here. I listen to a lot of, you know, like Asking Alexandria and those type of bands and stuff like that. Like they, you know, they talk about going through hard times and breakups and stuff and how they overcome stuff like that and telling that story. It's the same thing. You just have to put it into that proper arrangement to make sense and make it sound good. But it can be done out here, and there's people out here in our scene that's doing it. And I'm really excited to see, you know, a lot of these guys.
I love your explanation of all these things. I think that you've really given amazing insight into production and what it takes to be an artist. Thank you.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Appreciate it.
Really fantastic. I think you have a 1 hour takeover to hit here on the
Hey.
Graham Radio channel.
Yeah, I'm excited for that
Yeah.
too.
For the listeners, thank you so much, Smitty, for coming on. Oh,
Thank you, guys.
By the way, we never even did an introduction. So let's just quickly. I'll put this in the beginning. Hello, Smitty. Welcome to the Graham Radio
What's going on, Graham?
channel.
Nice to be here, buddy.
So, what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Smitty. I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky, but I am out of Tampa, Florida now.
Nice. Well, welcome to the Graham Radio channel.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me.
Perfect. Okay. All right. For the listeners, I love you. Peace. All right.
Very nice.
Great interview. Really, really great interview. That was refreshing.
I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. So let me set you up here.